This is a video response to John Campea's AMC Mailbag that happened today. This is Saturday, November the 9th, I believe. And he was discussing in regards to the Batman Superman films coming out in 2015 for Man of Steel, Batman versus Superman, or Superman versus Batman, I guess would be the way to put that, since it's supposed to be Superman's film. But they were talking about several different things. One of the things being this rumor running around, which is, again, like John said, still a rumor, that Nightwing is going to show up. And he was upset about the idea of having Dick Grayson, Robin / Nightwing even being in this movie, because he feels like the movie industry, or I should say film in general, will not be able to get across the fact that Batman can have a young sidekick. In the case of Dick Grayson, he was very young, and I agree with him that you can't really, it would be against the law or illegal to put a child in danger such as Dick Grayson. But I think one of the things that might make that story work, and this is just my opinion, and I understand that John has a different view of it, but I think one of the things that could possibly make this work is if you take into account the story of Batman's origins. Now, we're not going to retell Batman's origins, hopefully, in this movie, but remember that Batman, as a child, his parents were killed, and the same thing is going to happen to Dick Grayson, part of the Flying Graysons and the Haley Circus. So when Batman discovers that Dick Grayson has the similar issues to his parents' death and a need for closure per se, or he wants to find, I don't know if they're going to use Tony Zuko or if they're going to use some other character within the DC universe as the villain that kills Dick Grayson's parents. But the important part of this is, again, we're talking about the youth of Dick Grayson at the time his family is killed, and Bruce Wayne having that similar or recognition in Dick Grayson's pain that Grayson is going to do something regardless of whether Batman gets involved in it or not. So Bruce Wayne has gone out, and through his youth, when he was young, after his parents were killed, he went out and found the training, the martial arts training, the detectives training, the police training, if you will, or finding out about the different things that he could learn that he would need to become Batman. So we have to take into account that if Bruce Wayne knows that he did this, and now he sees that another person is going through the same type of pain, would he not feel a need to jump in and help him, just like they did in the comic books? So rather than put a young Dick Grayson at risk as Robin, what if Batman takes a young Dick Grayson as Robin and puts him into training? So now you have a child who is being taught discipline and martial arts and life skills that he can use later on in life to become a better man. And instead of putting him in danger, you are focusing his aggression and his need for vengeance into a productive manifest. So now we get it to the part where the movie is. If you backlog all this, if you play this in the kind of like in the Incredible Hulk, where you've got during the credits, they're giving all this backstory and little montage flashes, and to bring you up to where we're supposed to be with the character. So then, sorry, it's time to feed the dogs. It's kind of alarm set. So then you've got all that set in as backstory as Grayson in his youth kind of growing up. And I know this is not a movie about Dick Grayson, so you can't really flesh it out to the extent that you would hope he'd be able to, but you can still do that in bits and pieces as they're going to have to, because they're talking about an advanced, let's not say an aged Batman, but we're talking about a veteran. That's the words that they used. A veteran Batman, which is the only way that Batman could pose a serious threat to a Superman. Superman is still young in his career. He doesn't have the same experience and knowledge and fighting skills as the veteran Batman, who has all of his billionaire gadgets and his Batmobile, his Batplane, and all of the gear that he carries on his belt and everything. So now we've got a veteran Batman who has also trained a young Dick Grayson to be a partner as he got old enough. So let's say Grayson, when he hits the age of 16 in my state is legal work age. I think it's 16. It could be 17. So we'll say 17 for the sake of argument. 17 years old. He hits the age of 17 years old. He's been trained for many, many years in martial arts and detective work, and he's worked basically as a background in Batman's Batcave. He's been doing the computer research and stuff that Dick Grayson always did for him when we all know that he did that stuff as well. So you take all that information and you put that as kind of backstories and flashbacks and whatnot, and then we get to the point now where the veteran Batman is going up against the young, inexperienced Superman. He already knows he's outpowered. He knows he's going to take every bit of his knowledge and skill to be able to defend himself against Superman. Now, why is he going after Superman? Well, Superman destroyed half of Metropolis in the first movie, in the Man of Steel movie that John liked so much and that I thought was okay. It wasn't my favorite movie of the year, but it wasn't by a long stretch of any stretch of the imagination bad. I really enjoyed it. So now you bring into that Batman says, well, I'm going to need backup. There's no way I can go up against this guy by himself. There's rumors out there that they're talking about bringing in different characters. They're talking about a Wonder Woman, and I know Flash is going to show up in the Arrow television series, and I don't know if they're going to do any others in this or not, but they need to DC needs to kind of build up and set some characters in motion so that they can do this cross-universe connection like Marvel has built so well for themselves. And I have a blog post on herointersect.com, which is my website. Not important here, but I'm working on a blog post that's talking about how Marvel's got this jump up, so DC has to catch up. So they've got to put all this history together and give us a reason to care about and know and learn the characters that they're going to build for their crossover universe, where all these characters can show up in each other's stories and in each other's movies and be important to us as an audience as well as each other. And that's where they're at right now. I'm thinking that by doing it this way, by showing a training of and bringing Dick Grayson up to say, since we've got a veteran Batman and we're going to probably put him in his we're looking at Ben Affleck casting I don't agree with, by the way. Put Ben Affleck in his late 30s and early 40s so that we can keep using the character Batman regardless of what his actual age is. We can keep using the character Batman but still make sense with his history and being a veteran. And then we put Dick Grayson in his early to mid 20s. And now we have a situation where there's backstory, there's background, there's information about where this character came up and how he became the great Nightwing, which is one of my favorite all-time DC characters, by the way. And it still fits with the storyline. And you can also add in all the other DC cadre, bring in the Wonder Woman, bring in the Aquaman or Martian Manhunter or whoever else they want to apply to this before they come up with that Justice League movie that is so quickly approaching, hopefully. But that's just my 2 cents in my opinion. And John, I'm not trying to change your mind. Obviously, you have your opinion. Everyone is entitled to theirs, just like you said. And your opinion is no less or more valid than anybody else's. Just like my opinion is no more or less valid than yours or anyone else's. It's just I wanted to give you another take on the story that maybe you hadn't considered, rather than say, okay, we're going to put a child in danger. What if Bruce Wayne is training the child to become the veteran crime fighter that he is and trying to keep him out of trouble, which is kind of the way I saw it in the comic books, although obviously in the comic books he was much younger when he got into fights. In the movie universe, you could make him the veteran through training and then let him start his first fights and his just say that he's been through a couple of other scenarios with Batman since he was, say, 17, and now that he's into his early to mid-20s, he's not a veteran, but he's got enough experience that he can be of assistance to Batman in the field. That's my take. Let me know what you think.